Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today. It is Thursday morning. It's April 15th, tax day in the old world before coronavirus. I'm the man they call Meathead, and joining us this morning, Matthew Thomas. Matthew, now remember, I told you yesterday, you're coming in hot, coming a little soft, do a nice buttery landing.
Well, Meathead, it's nice to hear from you.
I don't mean April Fool's, intro, but good morning, Matthew. How you doing?
Good morning. So by tax day, you mean that there's no sales tax on anything I buy today, correct?
Nope, this is not, what do they call that, duty? This is not duty free. This is the IRS day. This is Erwin R. Shyster Day. It's April 15th, the day we're supposed to have our taxes in, but I believe they pushed it out. I don't know how far they pushed it out, but I know that my taxes are not due today. So
That's what you think.
well, we'll see. I mean, you could be like the jabroni here in Appleton. I don't know if you guys saw the news. This is not wrestling related at all, but we've ordered from a pizza place called Munchies. Sounds like a good pizza name, right?
Yeah, it really does.
Apparently, the owner is been federally indicted for tax evasion because he was skimming off the top and putting it to himself.
Well,
he was taking toppings off the pizza and taking them home for himself.
I was going to say, as long as the pizza's well topped, man, that doesn't mean he's making a bad pizza.
You never know. Munchies, I think, was the place that was open on a Thanksgiving night when there was nothing left to open and we couldn't go down to see the family. I think that was the place we ate at. And it was good. But, again, he skimmed toppings, so when I was supposed to get 14 pepperoni slices, I got 13 and one went home for him. I don't know, man.
How much did you really miss that one extra piece of pepperoni?
Oh, I count. Trust me, I'm being over-retentive about that. Let's talk about the sponsors real quick. First off, manscaped.com, saving 20% with PWR as the promo code. Get yourself silky smooth like David the Zohan Hero, and collarandelbowbrand.com using the promo code Linda K. That's K-A-Y, Linda K, for 10% off at collarandelbowbrand.com. Matthew Thomas, we got one bit of news I'm going to talk about here. We're coming off of WrestleMania from last weekend, and we had speculated all year long, how was WrestleMania 37 going to look? What was it going to be? Were we going to have fans? Well, we had fans in attendance. We had our own Linda K, David Hero. I think Andrew Baydala was down there. I know Damian was down there somewhere as well. But we didn't know exactly how many fans they were going to have. Well, the reports are in. Apparently, the capacity was supposed to be 25,000 for each night. They actually did sold-out shows of 25,675 each night. So each additional night, they added in 675 people. So that must have been a percentage instead of like a flat, here's 25 grand, so, wow. They sold it out back-to-back nights. Total over the weekend, 51,350 fans for WrestleMania 37, a double sellout of 26, like I said, 675 each night. Matthew, there is also talk that the WWE are close to going back on the road.
Not surprising. You're starting to see concert dates being announced. You're starting to see certain festivals being announced. And WWE, I think we'd be remiss to think that they would not be one of the first entertainment options that goes hard to work making arrangements. So really happy to hear it. Not overly surprised, but seems to indicate that we've got some wrestling to look forward to, hopefully here in the next coming months.
Yeah, and I want to say a get well soon to Jack Koshik. If you don't know Matthew, Jack Koshik is a local legend in the Milwaukee area. Dave calls him Cousin Jack, so anybody that knows him, it's Cousin Jack. But Jack Koshik is, remember when I keep saying that we got a guy that always tells us AEW's coming? Well, he's going to be helping with that one. And last I talked to him, apparently last week, right before he went to the hospital, had that triple heart, I think it was a triple bypass. He just had heart surgery just in the last couple of days. We hope he gets well soon. But, last I had spoke with him right before he went in, he said that AEW is still slated to get out into the Milwaukee area, looks like in July. So it's possible AEW may be on their way as well. They haven't pushed back that date yet, but we'll have to wait and see. We're only at April 15th, so we're halfway through April. We've got time for them to start coming out.
Hopefully AEW's there in July as scheduled along with Jack.
That's right. Jack will be scheduled. I know Jack will be there. Come on, that dude's a rock star, man. Jack is phenomenal. Let's talk about WWE going on the road. WWE, if they start hitting the road, what do you expect as far as protocols, as far as tickets, percentages? Do you think it'll vary city to city, county to county? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have certain areas of the country that you're likely to have the bulk of the dates in. I think at first, I mean, it would not surprise me to see kind of a little mini tour of Florida for a
Oh,
little
like the
while. But
Southeast? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Hitting
yeah,
Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. Yeah.
probably throw a Texas in there. You're
Well,
going a little
Texas is
bit.
its own country, so.
Yeah, yeah. So you're going a little bit more towards the west there, but no, I think you're going to have to be. It's probably not going to look like a normal WWE tour, but and of course TV, Raw, SmackDown. I don't think WWE is going to bite off a lot of house shows right now. I think you're going to get your TVs taken care of and then kind of go from there. But yeah, I think that it's going to be a little bit more regionalized than maybe you would in the past. But
We're going
like
back
we've
to the
talked,
territory days.
yeah, like you've talked about before, it's one of those deals where theoretically you could go in Florida or you could go to Texas and run a building at capacity, but again, you're making maneuvers as a corporation, as a publicly traded company, so the likelihood of you know going sell out full capacity probably not going to do like they did with Mania, because I mean technically in Florida they could have legally ran a full
Oh,
stadium,
since
right?
last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just one of those deals where you're having to look at it from multiple angles as far as how it plays and appearance and everything. But no, I look forward to seeing something announced, and I look forward to getting some WWE dates, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Okay. So, and again, AEW as well, the big concert series down in the Milwaukee area here, Summerfest, are ready to go. I believe it's in September around Labor Day. So all those shows are starting to come around. So we're just about there.
Yeah.
Let us talk about AEW from last night. Matthew Thomas, AEW had Mike Tyson. We failed to mention yesterday morning that, hey, by the way, Mike Tyson's going to be on the big program. Mike Tyson to be the special enforcer in the Jericho versus Hardwood match. I failed us. I should have brought that up and we should have talked about it. But hey, let's talk about what happened on AEW last night. The show opens up with the Young Bucks talking about how I wouldn't necessarily say they turned on John Moxley so much as they rejoined the Bullet Club. They recommitted their love and friendship to the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. Your thoughts on the Bullet Club? I mean, the Bullet Club and the Young Bucks and their promo.
It's been a little hot and cold, but I feel like we got heel Bucks that we've kind of flirted with a little bit throughout the AEW run, but they seem to be kind of afraid to go all in, no pun intended at all, with that. But it felt like it was the Bucks wheelhouse last night. I still don't quite get the Bucks. Since the advent of AEW, I'm still trying to really figure out what I'm supposed to feel on a weekly basis with the Bucks
Mm-hmm.
as far as pertains to the characters. We've got them super kicking Tony Schiavone one week, and then
They
a
super
couple of
kicked
weeks later,
Don Callis, super kicked the cameraman
yeah,
last night.
yeah. Then a couple of weeks later, we're supposed to like them, and they're supposed to save the day. This felt like a full commitment to heel Bucks, kind of just the snarky, just heelish Bucks. And I think if they go in with that all the way, if they fully commit to that, it's entertaining to me. I think that seems to make sense. Okay, I kind of get where they're going with this. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good opening tag match, and I'm happy to see them commit to heel Bucks and this incarnation of the Bullet Club.
Happy to see them commit. That's the point I want to make. And to be honest, we're going to talk about it tomorrow morning. the Jericho interview. Chris Jericho does address the Young Bucks and the Kenny Omega and, the AEW situation in that interview on the Peacock Network. And a little spoiler here, it's something we've already talked about. Jericho kind of reiterates it. Yes, we knew who Chris Jericho was. Yes, we knew who a couple of the other names in AEW were. But American, United States fans, North American fans, did not know who the hell Kenny Omega was or the Young Bucks were. They were never on national American TV. So the year and a half, almost 2 years that we've had the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, we've finally learned who Kenny Omega is, but we still don't know who the hell the Young Bucks are. We know who they are, but what are they supposed to be? And that's where, even back in the day, our founder, he used to say on this very program on Thursday mornings, I don't know why I'm supposed to like the Young Bucks yet, because they never really gave us a reason to.
Now, when you say founder, was that Jefferson or was that Washington?
Well, Jefferson, technically was a founder. Washington was just the general that was named the first president.
Interesting. I was always kind of a John Adams fan myself. That being said, what really stuck out to me, and not to give too much away about the Jericho interview, but what amazes me with that, one of the names that Jericho grouped in there along with the Bucks and Kenny Omega was Hangman Page. And I feel like we actually found out very early who Hangman Page was. I think that character has translated very easy to the lapsed wrestling fan or the fan who came over from WWE who did not necessarily have familiarity with this bunch outside of Jericho and Cody. I think Page has just been a really transcendent piece of the AEW puzzle. And I think that just speaks to, Page and also that character and how well that character comes off.
Absolutely. So another cool thing that we had last night was Mike Tyson. No, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson.
Tussin is the knockoff brand of Robitussin. I remember like a Dollar General or one of the dollar stores, seeing their generic Robitussin, and it's legit Tussin.
Iron Mike Tyson. Yeah, Iron Mike Tyson. Tried to cut a promo last night. Hey, y'all, it's Mike Tyson. Oh, snap. It's Mike Tyson cutting a promo. But thank God for MJF cutting him off real quick. I thought he did really well. He's got to blow the checkout farther because it just looked like he was dribbling the checkout at the end. But the visual of him ripping it up, chewing on it, and spitting it out was pretty funny to me. Again, I didn't get the pop of the blowing paper at the end.
It looked like it was pretty tasty paper. Here's the thing.
Tasted like money.
Here's the thing with Mike Tyson. Doesn't matter if it's 1998 or 2008 or 2018 or I don't know why I just went in intervals of like 10 years there. Well, I started with 98, so that's where I went. That's where I got that from. Or 2021, Mike Tyson on a TV show's not going to be news. And it's always going to feel important. Doesn't matter what he says. Doesn't matter what he does. It feels like a big event when Mike Tyson's there, and last night was no exception.
I heard, who did I hear say this? I think I heard this on a radio podcast. Again, I don't listen to too many because I want to keep it fresh for what we do here. But the Eric Bischoff mentality, and it's still used to this day, of putting a big star or a big splash name on TV to get people to stay while they're channel flipping over and over. Mm-hmm. Mike Tyson on the TV was placed down there perfectly last night. He was on in technically the opening segment in the first 5 minutes, and then he was placed at the end of the first hour, leading into the second hour. That's why Sting is out there with Darby Allin all the time. That's why Christian Cage is out there now when he's out there with Tony Schiavone. Those guys are placed in those roles, and that's why Jericho has always been out there as well. I thought Tyson did fine. I thought he really did fine for what Tyson is. The opening match was the tag team champions, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick, with Don Callis, taking on the Death Triangle. A very, very long match. That ran about 3 commercial breaks. But, as much as I don't like all the super high spots that end up in 2 counts, I loved the finish. Was it Matt or Nick? It was Nick that ripped off Rey Fenix's mask. He just ripped it off. Phoenix, being the pure luchador that he is, covered his face, never saw the super kicks coming, laid down, took the 1, 2, 3, and never got up because he was sitting there covering his face. I absolutely love that.
It makes sense, and it makes sense in the aspect of who the Bucks are now. That, and then the spot where they did some type of super duper flip type of deal when they had somebody in the corner and then just clawed his back. And that to me was quintessential. Okay, that's who these guys are now. I can kind of get into that because I know what I'm supposed to feel.
The number one contender, Hangman Adam Page, the aforementioned Hangman Adam Page, hanging out with the Dark Order. Boy, the Dark Order still living on the fun loving group vibe that the Dark Order was never supposed to have, ever. Yeah. Johnny Hungy, John Silver, with a bad right shoulder. Hangman smacks him on the left. He goes, "Oh, dude, I thought it was the other one. Oh, you hurt that one too now. Here, watch, I can get it up. Oh, that's the stuff." These guys are entertaining. I don't care. I really wish they would have stayed the Dark Order that they were, the bad guys and doing whatever. But you know what? They're okay the way they are. They're a little too big of a group. I mean, because, out of the 7 or 8 that were back there, you're never going to see them wrestle anything else.
Yeah, I am much more intrigued by this version of the Dark Order. And I think they captivated some people right before Brody Lee came in when they were teasing that. And they captivated people in the context of Brody Lee. I mean, it was predominantly Brody Lee and the Dark Order. I always felt like the way it was booked, they kept him, fairly removed, even though he was the leader. It wasn't the same type of feel as just being part of the Dark Order. Now it's kind of pulled back into a more or less a comedy group, but it's effective. And I think the whole aspect, as much as I didn't think Adam Page needed anybody associated with him, they have done.
Well, technically he's not in the Dark Order. He's just hanging out.
He's not in the Dark Order. And I think that their proximity to him and their just infatuation with him has actually served Page well, because it's like he's got this group of 10 people that are just absolutely fawning over him.
He's unofficially the leader of that group right now.
Yeah, and he's got this, it's a cult. He's got this cult that's just fawning over him. And it's actually been done very well, to the point where you're more entertained by the Dark Order, and it's certainly not hurting Page. It's, probably helping him a bit, because you see all these people that are just so enamored with him. So I think it's actually going in the right direction. I still feel a little bit strange about what AEW is doing in regards to their number one contender and their champion, because as of right now, Omega is embroiled in
a title for title match.
The title for title match that you never really hear much speak of on AEW.
You don't hear talk on AEW about that. It's not consistently promoted on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, not at all. And yeah, Page is the number one contender, but where are we going with that? There's really no interaction with him and Omega right now. It's just that number one contendership is being discussed as a matter of fact. And in any other type of sport, any type of combat sport, okay, number one contender, that means this guy's got a championship opportunity coming up. And I get that they're potentially trying to maybe, put it down the road a little bit, but it's a bit strange in the fact that, you do have a new number one contender, but there's really no talk of what that means as far as him and Page and Omega are not in each other's orbit right now.
Right. Because Page is, Omega is working towards Rich Swann.
Yeah.
Does Rich Swann actually beat Omega, or does Omega take the Impact Championship? And then do you have Hangman Adam Page carry around both belts if he beats Omega? Who knows? That stuff is soon to come. I think that's our summer story right there, is Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. So number 2 ranked Red Velvet in the women's division, taking on Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill blew through Red Velvet. She's cannot be no longer the number 2 contender. And we saw an interview with Dr. Britt Baker with Reba backstage. And, Baker said she's number 3, but they have matching records, and she just watched Red Velvet lose. She should be number 2. I like that. let's talk about the rankings and a board right in front of her. I absolutely enjoyed that interview just for that fact.
Didn't we mention this last week?
Yeah.
I think
I
some
think they're
people
listening.
might be listening. You
Think they're
you need to show me that map again you showed me the other day.
I've got more details. Hopefully AEW you are listening because I got some stuff I'm going to talk about in the main event here. Olympic medalist Anthony Ogogo. I love that name, Ogogo. Accompanied by QT Marshall and The Factory, making his in-ring debut against Cole Carter. They call him the Governor. Anthony Ogogo looks good. Olympic medalist Anthony Ogogo. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this match was exactly what it needed to be, and it was impressive. It was quick, and my goodness, doesn't QT Marshall look like a good leader of a heel stable?
He does, and he looks like a young Arn Anderson now.
He does, doesn't he?
He does.
He does. I have not thought about that. Wow.
Which is ironic because of Arn Anderson with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. My goodness. That's I'm not going to be able to unsee that now.
Yeah, see. Okay, let's talk about Harwood versus Jericho. Dax Harwood with Cash Wheeler versus Chris Jericho with Sammy Guevara. Special ringside enforcer, Iron Mike Tyson. The rest of the Inner Circle and Pinnacle members are barred from ringside. They were allowed one person each. Aubrey Edwards ejects Tully Blanchard before the match begins, and then it's go time. Mike Tyson says he's going to be impartial or impartial. I'm going to be impartial. I might have to knock somebody out. I don't know. It ends up being a huge Pier Sixer up at the stage. Mike knocks out Wheeler, I believe it was. He knocked him out on the ringside. They were all over the place. The winner of the match was Chris Jericho, of course. But I thought this was very, very cluttered for a few moments, but I still enjoyed the match.
Let's go back. Did you say Mike Knox made an appearance?
No, not Mike Knox. No, this is not Aces and Eights.
Oh, I was. You've got like 11 or 12 stables in AEW. You may as well put Aces and Eights in there.
You know, that's a dead man's hand.
No, I thought this was fun for what it needed to be. You know, you had to have some chaos there to get Mike Tyson his spot, and I like the fact that you got Dax Harwood going up against Jericho in a one-on-one match. I think it was beneficial.
Dax
for him.
Harwood from the Pinnacle.
And let's get this straight. The winner, the whole Mike Tyson thing, yeah, you're going to shift some eyes to AEW. Yeah, it does feel like big news, but more importantly than that, anybody who's working with him, whether they're getting punched by him, whether he's got his arm around him like Sammy Guevara did at the end of this, everybody who's in that ring or in that segment with Tyson is coming across like a bigger star because they're in there with
the Tyson rub. Yeah,
exactly. And that's exactly what this did.
Great. All right, the package with Thunder Rosa. She says she wants the AEW Women's Championship and she wants back her NWA Women's Championship because she wants to take over the world. I'm a big Thunder Rosa fan, and to be honest, I think she could do it. You know, I love the fact that she brought up Serena Deeb, who we haven't seen on TV in a while. So keeping those names in our minds, in the back of our minds, that those names are there. So great promo by Thunder Rosa.
And what I think AEW is doing a really good job of right now, as transient as the women's division felt early on, if you look at AEW on a weekly basis, we're getting a familiar crop of around 5 or 6 similar talents week to week. And I think that's really what you need to do, especially within a new company like this, whether it be the female or the male roster. You've just got to get people that frequency and that familiarization with who your stars are. And I don't think they have done a great job with that, especially on the women's division here, in the first year and a half. But they seem to be, I tell you, the AEW women's division, they seem to have really course corrected ever since they had Brie Baker, Thunder Rosa. Ever since then, it seems to be a much more kind of honed in product.
Yeah. There's another female that's in the women's division that is making her way back. Chris Statlander, a member of the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent. Sorry, I don't know why I failed on his name there. But the good friends, the best friends, because you got to give the people what they want. Chris Statlander is going to be up in that women's mix as well. There was an interview backstage with Team Taz. I don't like it. It just seems kind of all over the place. Brian Cage has an issue. Ricky Starks has an issue. Hobbs didn't answer the calls. They're trying to get Christian Cage in it. Cages and pages and all that other stuff. Shivani out in the ring with Christian Cage. Here's the thing. Taz comes out, interrupts. It says, look, right now, Team Taz is a dumpster fire. I didn't come to AEW to fix your problems. I came to AEW to win championships. My answer is no. So Powerhouse Hobbs gets a match with Christian, and that was an easy one here. Christian was going to go ahead and just take over Powerhouse Hobbs. That's it. I mean, it's over. Let's talk main event. Falls Count Anywhere. Big money Matt Hardy in the Hardy family office against the TNT champion, Darby Allin. Remember I said I know that they're listening. I have some notes. If you're going to have those backstage spots, where you're going to be running through tables and knocking out, monitors, whatever, you got to get some light back there, man.
Yeah.
We can't see the pinfalls. We can't see any of that. Put some light on it. Get a camera that's got a light on it, something so we can see what the hell's going on.
No, absolutely. You've got to have that. You've got to have that illuminated. I mean, and that's going to be where your finish is at. So you need to have that place looking like something where you're going to see the show finish. And overall, I thought it was solid. I need to go back and watch that spot where Darby just skimmed across the steps over the barricade. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% even sure what happened there, but it looked like he may very well have violated some laws of physics. Really good. I mean, just a stiff match. Really, really stiff match. It's what you come to expect from Darby Allin, but it's still, especially the opening sequences there were really, really brutal. But I thought it was a good match, and I'm glad we saw Matt Hardy in a main event match like this. It's been a while since he's been featured prominently in a one-on-one contest like this, and I think it was a good way to close the show.
I found it interesting that JR mentioned that, Matt Hardy's been in a pay-per-view called No Mercy, where they had the tables, ladders, and chairs matches. Also Christian was in those matches too. I found that interesting. So,
it's that forbidden door, man.
Forbidden door is open.
It you know it.
So again, let's talk about tomorrow morning. What's coming up? We've got Impact Wrestling, obviously. Tonight, but tomorrow morning we're going to talk about that Jericho interview, and we're going to kind of go into detail on that, plus give you a SmackDown preview as well. Matthew, you said you've listened. We'll talk it out tomorrow. So it had me at the edge of my seat listening. I thought it was some of the best TV wrestling wise I've seen in a very long time. Doesn't mean it was great content. Doesn't mean it wasn't stuff I've heard before, but I thought it was just I was riveted. So Matthew, we will see you tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. For Matthew Thomas on the Manly Call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.